these common terms in the IT industry that there's no confusion about. So that's the big move that we're moving to. And you guys are on the forefront of this. Don't think that we're done, that this is complete. Like I said, this is the first step into this. And in fact, your Autotask is set up with all that old naming terminology. So as we move forward, part of your continued training is implementing these new product stacks in your contracts and for your new customers. Please don't think this is complete. This is a process, but me, Rob, Chris, Ian will be helping you through communicating this, developing proposals around it. I think the harder transition is going to be for Stan and Tan, who have existing customers using these old brand names. And then it, certainly not required. You can continue using the former brand names. We're by no means eliminating those. We know we can't. There's too much history around those right now. But it's going to be an interesting journey over the next year as we introduce these new product stacks or service portfolio and implement them. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now this basic package, I believe, has been uploaded to their Connect?
Not yet.
Okay, it is about to. Basically is a Excel spreadsheet that has multiple pages on it around our different packages. And the first page is the service descriptions, the one down below on the left, which identifies all the products, the pricing, descriptions, business solutions, the different ways it can be sold. Ian has tried to consolidate all of the information that is available to you on the vendor resources or the product pages, because all this information is on individual partner pages. And I have that example to the right. You go to the product partner section of Connect and click on any of the partners. You'll typically see contacts, getting started and onboarding, products and pricing, and training. So this is, the product stack page or the service portfolio pages that we're going to equip you with go hand in hand with the individual product partner pages where you can learn more, whether it be the contacts, the training. So let's go ahead and move on to this picture, because again, I think it's important to understand the basics, which essentially is getting a grasp of the basic package and the essentials package. So let's talk about those. In the basic package, and before we do that, I'm going to move to the goal of this. And I stated this in that 5 components of service strategy. Part of your service portfolio management is to use the service portfolio to solve for business problems. That's the goal, is to be able to obtain full information on the services that I'm able to offer, and then be able to relate those to business problems I might hear in a business conversation with my prospects or customers. That's the goal. So just keep that in mind. And that is a long-term goal. It's not a, black and white equation type thing where you can say, oh, I heard this business problem, boom, it solved by this. There's a whole lot more to it. There's an analysis that has to go into it that will eventually include a technical assessment to see if it's even possible. But hearing business problems should, at some point in time, the sooner the better, start alerting you to technology that can be put in place to solve those business problems. So that's the goal of learning and managing the service portfolio. Does everybody get that? That's what we're heading towards. Sound good? All right, then let's back up again. So we see our basic package involving the continuum tools, first and foremost, the continuum agent installed on all devices, which will take care of endpoint protection through the WebRoot tool that is included in the continuum agent price. 24/7 monitoring and maintenance. We're automating the maintenance with the continuum agent around patching, updates, those type of things. And if there is a server involved, we can employ the NOC to monitor the network 24/7. Let's talk a little bit about that. Did anybody catch what I said? There was an if statement.
Yeah. So what about a client if they don't have any server?
Great question. You heard it. The NOC, if you just have a network that has just desktops, and all you're doing is installing the continuum agent on the desktops or the laptops, you're really not involving the NOC. You're just setting up automation on the workstations and really can't plug into what the NOC has to offer. So a environment without a server automatically presents some challenges on how to monitor things on a 24/7 basis and include the NOC in it. So one question you'll have to ask yourself, would it be advantageous or is there a reason to introduce a server into this environment so I can better monitor and have access to all the things that the NOC has to offer?
So isn't it possible to offer them a solution using Continuum's virtual server?
Yeah, adding a virtual server of some sort would make sense in some manner. I just want you to think about that. Most networks contain a server of some sort that you can install the agent on and employ the NOC to help on the larger network. But I just want you to understand that if you've got a network, a customer that has no server, that is an obstacle to adding the NOC services to that network. Just understand that and have that in your, your solution tool belt. That to truly, because think about it, if NOC services are not needed as part of the business solution that your customer is asking for, well, then then it's not even a consideration, because there are very mobile businesses where it's only workstations and providing a solution that automates their protection, their updates, and maybe add the EDR to their workstations may solve all their business problems. And we don't need to include the NOC. Or we add the help desk. You know, it is a customer that doesn't have a physical or virtual server that needs to be managed or monitored, but they do want help desk services. Well, great. Now we're taking advantage of those resources at Continuum to help manage the network. You know, first line of defense is the help desk. So again, think of it as a larger subject, but you just need to understand that the NOC only comes into play when you install a server agent onto that NOC, and then can start using their services to manage the customer in a more comprehensive way. Any more questions around that? We'll keep kind of moving on.
A couple of questions, Stuart, and I'm sorry if you addressed it already and I missed it somehow. So the basic package seems to have more things than the essentials, which...
No, essentials adds to the basic.
Okay, so it's already included. Okay.
Correct.
Now, is there a difference between 24/7 maintenance and help desk that I see in essentials?
So the 24-hour maintenance refers to both the automated tools within the Continuum agent, you know, constant patching, reboot schedules, updates. You know, you are 24/7 automating the maintenance routines of your customers' computers. They may be familiar with this type of solution, or they may have an unmanaged network where this is going to transform everything for them. The goal of the 24-hour maintenance is to make their machines more productive, protected, and more available on the network. So then there's the 24/7 monitoring, which is more around the NOC, not the help desk. Help desk can be 24/7. Again, there's three solutions on the help desk: business hours, after hours, or 24/7. But when you have a server on the network and you install a server agent, you are employing the NOC to monitor that network 24/7. So that is what's meant by that 24/7 maintenance through the automation and monitoring through the NOC's participation in monitoring your network. Does that help?
Yeah, so if a customer opts for just the basic package, and if they need service that is typically falls under the purview of the help desk that is in the essentials, do they go someplace else to get their service, or what happens?
So if you do not enable help desk for your customer, who's the help desk?
Right.
You are.
Aha, okay.
Yeah. So it's a yes or no. Again, starting off for Jerome, Bill, I would recommend that you, for your first customers, you always, even if you have to take like a little less margin on what you're offering your customer, go with the essential packages that includes the help desk. So because you can always adjust things. Again, help desk, we're always providing help desk services, but do we provide a direct call, an email support? How do you submit those issues? Those things can be kind of changed. For example, David Usher in Wilmington, North Carolina, signs people up for help desk. He's a more mature franchise. He signs people up for help desk, but with his team, he does not enable Continuum yet. He charges for help desk services, but he trains his team saying, hey, we're bringing on this new customer. And so start anticipating their calls. We're going to try to attempt to handle the help desk ourselves. And only if it exceeds our capacity are we going to then include the Continuum help desk, pay extra for that. But so he's got a way of kind of determining needs and then building the back end with either his team or the Continuum team. These are the type of questions and strategic thinking that you need to use in handling. Just like I'm advising Jerome and Bill, your first customers, you should say, you should absolutely employ the help desk. A year down the line, you may understand that they get 2 calls a month. Why am I paying, help desk when I can handle those calls? And you go to the customer and say, hey, change, you now access support through this number. And Bill or Jerome's team starts handling those help desk calls, and you've just increased your margin because you've reduced your help desk expenses. These are the type of strategic configurations that you need to be thinking about. And this is all about maturity level. Again, Jerome and Bill are starting off as a young, immature franchise, so you're going to make decisions a little bit different. You want all the help you can get. Absolutely. You should be using help desk for your first customers. Again, even if your margins suffer, because you can always evolve later. Stan, you guys are in process, so you've got to have a little different thought. What resources do I have on my team? And are they sufficient? Or do I need to employ these other resources to handle the demand that is going to be generated by this new customer? Does that help?
Yeah, thanks. Makes sense.
So, Stuart, the question a quick question. Sorry, Ekman, you had a second question?
No, I'm done.
So Stuart, you mentioned I have a client that has, and this is hypothetical, has 20 desktops, whatever business it is, but they don't have a server, right? So we're going to employ the agent on the desktops to make sure that if it's not up when it's supposed to be up and all those type of things, right? So obviously the knock would not be the one that would get the call, but the help desk would. But other than the agent to make sure that the desktop is up, can't we also deploy antivirus and those types of things and keep those updates going? And would that be a separate charge? I don't see it.
Endpoint protection covers antivirus. That's kind of the new terminology for antivirus, anti-malware. So that's absolutely included.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about a couple things.
I'm sorry.
Workstations, laptops go up and down all the time.
Right.
There's no setting, and thank God there's not, to say, hey, this laptop is offline, alert, create a ticket. That's not an issue. They go up and down. Now, server, completely different. Server goes down, emergency. Creates a ticket, and somebody's going to get in to figure out what the problem is. So up or down on a workstation is not really an issue. But yes, and help desk is completely up to you. Again, we see it as the next level above basic. But yes, in a situation where it's just workstations, no servers, we're installing the Continuum agent, we're deploying the WebRoot endpoint protection, which is the front line of defense of antivirus, anti-malware. I mean, this is an enterprise endpoint protection solution. Learn about WebRoot Secure Anywhere. It is a ever-evolving tool to truly protect you guys' devices. Plus the automated maintenance. Again, patching and updates, reboot schedules, setting these computers to reboot at least once a week. Still one of the best maintenance practices around. And unless it's automated, computers may not get rebooted for a month. So you are setting up that automation, communicating to your users. Here's what you can expect. This is when updates are going to happen. Computers are set to reboot each week on Wednesdays, early in the morning, and setting up those routines so your customers understand it. But let's move on, because we also include in that basic package a firewall. Again, if your customer is a unusual customer, only has laptops, no servers, and everybody works remotely, is there really a need for a firewall? I mean, there's no server closet. So, that may not apply, but it applies to most companies. What kind of firewall protection is in place? And we want to either work with the one that's in place, which is for new customers, that is probably going to be your job to understand what firewall is in place and either say, yes, I can work with that, learn how to work with it, and include that fee of managing that firewall in your solution price. Or advise, this is an outdated firewall. The subscription on the software is not current. I advise replacing it with this, and this is what it's going to cost.
So Stuart, real quick, if you have, say, a small medical practice, no servers, but they have, say, about 7 to 8 desktops, workstations combined, and they say, hey, we don't want to pay for any proactive maintenance. What we need is just endpoint protection and multi-factor sign-on and backup and disaster recovery. And whatever preventive you say we need to do, can you handle it for me, like on a routine basis, like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks?
Okay, let's talk about the finances on that one. Each Continuum agent costs $2.89. If you were to deploy just the WebRoot endpoint protection for the device, it would be $2. Because you can do that. Very seldom is that done, but you can deploy WebRoot endpoint protection, but it's $2 per device. So in that situation where they're like, I don't want the proactive care, that's fine. I'm still going to install the full agent on your computer, deploy the endpoint protection, because what does that get me? I can still automate, their maintenance. And what else does it get me? When there's a problem, I can remote in. And if I just deploy the endpoint protection, I'm going to have to use some other tool when there's a problem to remote into their computers, or I'm going to have to go on site. So in the first thing I'm want you to realize about the situation that you brought up was it would be more beneficial, even if they said, I just want endpoint protection and some other things. Well, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and install the full continuum agent because it's only 89 cents per device more.
Right. So in
And I've got full automation and remote access.
so I think I think in their minds they're not paying for that extra service, but yeah, we are making our jobs easier and their jobs easier, and we can charge whatever we want, right? You say, hey, saving $20 per machine on this.
Right. Exactly. And because what we talk about in this basic package is not just the 24-hour maintenance and monitoring, but our SLA on, you are now a managed service customer for CMIT. That means you reach out to us and we're going to respond within this time frame. So that basic package is not just protection or maintenance and monitoring. It's you have priority. You are now a CMIT managed service customer. And when you submit a ticket, here's what we do. We'll respond and resolve your issue based on this timeline, these SLAs. If someone just wants endpoint protection and you sell them, $5 a machine, well, they're a break fix customer. And that has a whole lot less priority than my managed service customers. So does that also make sense? I mean,
Right, that I'm looking for a solution, where the customer feels like he's getting a good deal, and is still getting at least the basic protection without paying a lot of money, but still that's profitable for me.
yeah. And in that situation, you've got to determine, okay, when an incident happens, what do I charge for remote help? For my technical team to remote in and fix the problem? Or is that included? Many times in this basic package, remote help is included. I'm not going to charge you. All I have to do is remote into your computer and fix something. That's on me. I got it.
Right.
If I've got to go on site, I'm going to charge you this much per hour. In a situation where somebody's, hey, I just want basic protection, that's fine. I'll deploy these agents and I will protect you. But if I have to, any work I do, whether remote, my remote billing rate is this much when you need something, and my on-site is this much, my after hours is this much. So you would probably employ a cost or a price to them that says, yes, we got you protected. If you need anything, this is how much it's going to cost you, whether it's remote or on-site. But again, typically in the essential packages, again, think about it. I've employed help desk. I'm charging a price that includes help desk. So anytime they call help desk, that's not a additional charge for them. That's included in the monthly price that they're paying, right?
Right. So for those customers, I can say, hey, if you want to do that as needed basis, you have to pay maybe, I don't know, $120, $150 an hour for on-site, or maybe another rate for remote help desk support.
Yeah. So yeah, and in those kind of just basic packages that don't include the whole basic, I'm using basic, in situations where customers are just saying, hey, I just want endpoint protection. Again, it may be profitable to deploy the whole continuum agent because it gives you better access. But you need to package it in a way where anything you do for them, you're charging them for. As opposed to these other packages where remote help desk is included in the monthly service charges. So just be clear on what makes the most sense in terms of these support elements that are included in these packages. So moving on, email security. Our Barracuda partner is, our firewall partner, our email security, and has a file backup solution. So Barracuda is kind of like Continuum, has multiple elements of our package. So learning Barracuda and building that relationship is necessary to provide this basic package. Datto is more of the business continuity solution, is the higher priced backup disaster recovery solution. And when we talked about backup and data recovery, it's that imaging, quicker recovery time, and that hybrid cloud, on-site image plus a cloud image. So a higher priced, but a more reliable backup solution. And then multi-factor sign-on. This is an element that can have multiple approaches to it. Many tools, many cloud programs, for example, Autotask, Continuum, the tools that you're using, they have multi-factor built in. That's the same with your customer. Probably some of the tools that they use have multi-factor built in. Office 365 has multi-factor built into it. You can set parameters. They have to, anytime they log in from a unrecognized device, absolutely requires multi-factor. Every 2 weeks on their existing device, it's going to require another multi-factor verification. So multi-factor may mean implementing like a jump cloud solution. It may just mean understanding what tools they're using and activating multi-factor within those tools. So is it just part of the analysis of services, analysis of the solution, or is it implementing an additional tool to make that happen? That's part of your analysis. But in today's environment, we believe it's a requirement to truly protect people's networks. So that's why we put it as a part of this basic package. It requires education. But again, that's, you're selling a solution not only around support, but security. So I wouldn't sell a solution that doesn't have a multi-factor element to it, and I wouldn't sell a solution that doesn't have a backup and disaster recovery element to it. It puts more risk on you.
Does a service like Jump Cloud replace the multi-factor for the other application?
In most cases, it works in conjunction with those multi-factor elements.
It's not an additional. You don't have to go into that and then go into the. I opened a new application now. I got a multi-factor that as well.
Yeah.
Stuart, what about if a client says, hey, I want a solution where if I lose my, workstation or my laptop, how quickly can I get my stuff back? Like if I buy a new laptop.
That's a Datto element. Datto is the master of that, whether it be a device or if you remember me talking about, they actually have a solution where you could set up a laptop with a bare metal restore, where it's constantly imaging to a cloud server And if that laptop goes down, is lost, you can quickly re-image onto a new device via that solution. Datto is really the best imaging and quick recovery resource that we have. But that costs more. And if that's what your customer needs, you need to price it in a way that you make good margins. But yeah, Datto's the partner for quick recovery and image recovery.
So what I understand is that it continually saves the image on the cloud of your machine. So if you lost your machine or broke it or something, you can just go hop onto the other machine or a new machine, and you can quickly get back running.
Yep, re-image that existing. Now, the problems you get into, I mean, if you have a 3-year-old device and you're trying to re-image it on a brand new device, there may be some issues. So you want to make sure that you address those and understand, okay, we are setting this up. It typically would be problematic trying to re-image on a older machine. Say, one sitting in the server closet, and you pull it out and you're trying to image, what was on a brand new machine onto an older machine. You will find some trouble. It needs to be compatible machines to typically re-image.
So, for example, if Windows 7 machine is lost or is stolen, and you want the image on a newer machine, which is Windows 10, that's not an issue, right?
That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but if you've got somebody on Windows 7, you got bigger problems than trying to bare metal restore. You want to get them updated, but in general, yes, I think operating system versions need to be taken into consideration when you provide that type of solution for a customer. Plan for the if something happens, we've got to get a similar type of device ready to go to re-image.
So, as an owner, do we need to know all this, or are we getting too technical?
A little bit too technical, yeah. But, Datto, again, is a great partner. Learn, our representatives, Kim Pensabine, Chris Brown, talk to them, give them a call, ask them these questions. These are, you should know the answers to these. I should. I mean, the 7 to 10, I don't physically know, but we could get them on the phone right now and talk to them. Build these relationships with our vendors. That's what they're there for, is to help support us, and we have great support teams. So you're asking the right questions, for sure, especially when you're trying to build a solution for a customer around disaster recovery. You should be on the phone with Chris Brown to help, to ask the right questions. And he'll even say, hey, when's your meeting with your customer? I'd be happy to be on the phone with them, and let's talk through the specifics of what we can do. We want to partner with these best in class. We want to be known as partnering with these best in class providers. So the more that we can involve them in the sales process, I think is the right move.
And what I've been hearing about the single sign-ons, and I think a lot of clients love that. What kind of solution we have around that, where customer says, I'm just tired of going 10 places and
The Jump Cloud platform is a single sign-on platform. I'll have to say, if any questions about that, you'd have to talk with Ian. This is a brand new platform, brand new product that we're rolling out, so he's the real expert on it. but the multi-factor authentication, single sign-on abilities of it, certainly there. But configuring it and deploying it, I'm not that familiar with. And again, different from password management. And this is one thing that I've learned. There are really three elements: multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, and password management. So, yeah.
I think what clients love is just getting into one big walled garden, and then everything they can access to without showing their tickets or credentials to other people.
Yeah, and that would be the Jump Cloud service, that single sign-on, one place, and it allows you to go to without authentication, without entering passwords to all the places. So that is a great solution.
And it's still being secure.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
So we're coming to the end of this. I do want to, so we are releasing this. This is the other element that I was talking about, where it is the product and service information, tells you the vendor, what the product is, the pricing, descriptions, what package it's included in, and kind of start thinking about what solutions it provides. A little hard to read on this slide, but I want to end again with where I started on this, that your goal of learning the service portfolio needs to be to use it to solve business problems. And I've thrown a couple examples up here. When you're with a prospect or a customer and you hear reduce labor costs or reduce costs, whether they be labor costs or IT costs, what you need to do is first understand what those costs are, ask the questions. Sometimes that's going to be hard information to get. They may not want to share that information with you, but somehow you've got to analyze those costs and come in with a solution that reduces those costs. The example I gave, I think earlier, is if the business owner currently is the one who provisions all his employees and is kind of the IT person, well, what portion of their job, what percentage of their job are they doing that? Well, then we can kind of start determining, okay, this is what you're currently paying, opportunity cost or whatever, for your IT services, and this is what I'm proposing. Interruptions, can't focus on business, need to expand. If a company's like, I just can't keep up to date with, we're growing 3 employees a week, a month, and I just can't manage that. Well, that's a solution where you need to have, procurement in place. You need to get with Dell and develop a standard setup on laptops or desktops and have a way to easily provision those, whether it be an image or, put in place the tools to provision, procure quickly to help this business grow. Here's the biggest one: risk. When you enter in that business conversation with a business owner, if you've prepared properly, you should understand some of the risks that this company inherently incurs. Understand what industry they're in, their competition, but then you're talking about just typical business risk. What keeps you up at night? Understanding their business risks is one of those areas that not only opens up business opportunities to solve for, but in my mind, elevates their perception of you. It's one of those conversations around business owner to business owner, developing that relationship. Now, when the risk is compliance risk, you should understand that walking into the meeting. If this is a doctor's office or a healthcare provider or a financial institution or a defense contractor, you shouldn't ask, what are your compliance standards? You should already know you're walking into a place that has compliance standards, and you should be able to discuss, hey, first of all, you should understand, am I prepared to even take on a compliance customer? And is this meeting with this customer, premature? Or do I just understand that this is a business relationship and not even try to get their business? I just want to develop the relationship for a year down the line. I mean, understand that walking into the meeting. Be aware in conversations with people. Oh, you work for a bank. Oh, yeah. That is a tough industry for IT services. Have conversations where you are aware of what they have to go through. Here's one thing with doctors' offices. Older doctors, many of them could care less about HIPAA regulations. They're like, let them come find me. I'll retire. If they want to put me out of business because I'm not, maintaining HIPAA compliance, great. That means I can go play golf more. You might find some compliance customers that are not compliant and don't want to be. Do you want to take on that type of customer? Probably not. But, maybe there's some ways that you can at least discuss with them, help them, and potentially that leads to some sort of profitable situation. But understanding risk in these conversations and when you're developing business solutions may be one of the biggest areas of where you can help your customers. So and risk tolerance. Great question to determine risk tolerance. If you lost access to your company's data right now, how long could you survive? I could go a week. I mean, we're good. I mean, there's nothing vital or if I don't have it back within the hour, I start losing customers. I mean, determining risk tolerance is a huge deal for your customers and a great question to ask. Obviously, yep.
I'm sorry.
No.
Finish your thought. I was trying to catch you before you went to competitiveness. So I just want to interject before you go to that one.
Please.
So when you have a referral, which you're going to then obviously be excited about, and you're not sure about whether they have compliance issues, but obviously that's something you bring up in conversation just so there's a check off on your little check sheet. And they do mention that. Is that okay to be in that situation where it was unexpected? And so then you can ask the necessary questions to find out, what type of compliancy are required in their particular business, because you may not have known it, but you probably want to ask it just to make sure it's not one of those aha or surprise things. Is that okay?
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Everything's okay. I just want you to be prepared. I mean, if it's a doctor's office or some sort of health services, you know
Right.
that they've got compliance standards. So from my perspective, it would be better saying, rather than what compliance standards are you dealing with right now, it would be better to approach it with, I know you've got HIPAA regulations that you've got to comply with. Where are you at on that? Is that a struggle for you guys, or you guys have it down pat? I mean, to me, that's the better way to approach it. But there will be situations where you may not know all the regulations that are involved. But prepare and do research.
Oh, most definitely. Okay. Thank you.
Competitiveness, again, is research. How cool is it if you were to walk into a business and, you have read up on their competition and you just found out that, hey, I heard, this company moved into town, and how's that going to affect your business? And how can we strategize to improve your competitiveness in this marketplace? Again, these are questions that elevate your stature and that business owners may not be expecting from their IT service company. Backup disaster recovery should be addressed with every customer. This should be a basic level. You should not take on a customer that doesn't have a backup disaster recovery element in place. It's just one of our largest franchises, Larry Kerrigan of Cambridge. He manages Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh.
So he's sophisticated, and he's in the health industry. He came from the health industry. He manages hospitals and healthcare industries. He says the most important thing you can do for your customer is have a backup. Talk about the complexity of what he does. I would think he would talk about other things, but he points the most important thing to have is a backup. So don't take on a customer that you don't have a backup, because it saves everything. It can solve a tremendous amount of problems. And managing a customer without secure, tested, reliable backups is a risky thing. Now, I know we didn't have enough time to cover all this, but it is time to move on. We will continue this discussion. The second training sessions will build upon these, but you've got work to do. If I go to my final slide,
And you're getting us these slides at the end of our thing
yeah,
this
they
morning,
should be
right?
loaded up.
So everybody's got homework today, and I'm going to start with a couple of things. This is the end, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to answer that question, Stuart has homework to do. He's going to help grab me a couple of files and a video for you because we asked for it. Ted has graciously uploaded his cybersecurity information in the chat. If you want to take a look at that, your other homework, Stuart, please don't end this meeting because I need to download the file from the main from the chat here because I go into the chat. I will not have it from history, so I need to go in there and grab that so I can look at it too.
And that's the certification for the cybersecurity sales and engineering through ConnectWise.
Yes. So I don't know the relation between ConnectWise and IT Nation.
Same thing.
Yeah, but yeah,
IT Nation is like their conference name.
okay, yeah, but I think there's great classes, and I think I shared three big folders. One is the CCFS, which is for sales. One is CCFE, which is for engineers, so little more technical. And one is the playbook they have come up with, and I found them really helpful. And I also need to look at them and understand more.
As do I. So I appreciate that because that gets me a lot more insight and I can look at that moving forward in future sessions. So the homework, and I'm going to put homework quotes again for y'all, is once I have all of the information from Stuart, we get a couple of those slides with some of the asks that you made. The video, we're going to go ahead and make sure we have that. And I've got a couple other documents. Stuart had them on the slides, which was our pricing sheet. And the calculator in which you use that. And my ask tonight is that we start thinking about these tools and everything we've discussed up to this point and using this and developing the journals that we made for ourselves and how we think about the business assessment moving forward, because that's going to be big next week. We're going to start tying that into how you actually go in and start making those needs known and getting that straight as far as how you want to work with that based on your research before you even go in and have that meeting. So all of this comes to a point. We're just kind of putting those building blocks together. So I'm just going to ask you to go ahead and look through those documents. We'll review the video. We'll have the slide for you once I get that information. So I'm going to ask you for a little bit of time on that so we give Stuart a chance to lock that in and then make sure you have what you asked for. We change very quickly on the fly here, so we want to make sure that we get that implemented and back out to you. Is that a fair ask?
That is.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, and what I would advise you on is use what we talked about over the last 2 days with when Jim comes in and starts talking about solving business solutions. Ask some of the questions, start implementing some of these things that we talked about, these ideas in these next few days with Jim and Teresa as we talk about the assessment process and the proposal process. Solve for business problems. Ask business problem questions. Not technical. Don't get tied into the technical. Use the technical stuff to solve for business problems, but stay focused on business problems.
One thing real quick, I really like the questions you went over when doing the QBRs. Do you have those questions written somewhere, which you can use, or?
I need to. I might have to get with Michael Malkowitz to see if I'm plagiarizing. No, we did pay him, and we bought the book, so I think we have the ability to utilize that now that we actually have employed him. I'll put together a little Stu's interpretation of the pumpkin plan.
Yeah, because I think those are good questions, really good questions.
It makes a good template for the process. I mean, it's almost, Stuart, where we follow through on, hey guys, we got all the tools. We got exactly what you need to do your business. So do it like this. We've had success with it. So when you provide that to us, there's no way we're going to fail. It's only if we go off the range that we start having issues. So if you give us all that in that template, step by step, I mean, it's just going to make it happen.
Agreed. Love it.
I'm having Jay Barrows flashbacks now. That's his key phrase, make it happen.
All right. Hey, guys, I've enjoyed it. This is a great class. Look forward to working with you guys. As it'll be funny. You met kind of the old training class at business office hours, and it'll be interesting to see when you're at that stage when like the next class is coming in and you're kind of welcoming them in and kind of on your way. So look forward to it.
Did you decide office hours like a doctor? Is that what
this is Rob's? He wanted to get at least a time where you could count on to come to, and not just always have to try to set up an appointment. That we would always be, we designate at least 1 hour per week where you could come, and that's for Ian has one, Jim has one, Adrienne has one. So there are various office hours available that you can just count on.
Gotcha. It makes sense. I mean, I actually thought you were leaving for the day. I'm like, man, they leave at 3 o'clock. That's a short day. But again, it's my definition of office hours. People 9 to 5, 8 to 4.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
Just
I
like-
see what you're talking about.
so then I realized what it meant. So cool.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, get some lunch. I think we've reduced your lunch hour to about 40 minutes. So, but I think it's well worth it. This is really good stuff. And again, enjoyed it and look forward to working with you guys.
No, thanks, Stuart. You really enjoyed your class.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes.
really
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
Thanks, man.
Really enjoyed it. So you say 45 minutes. What's that mean? We got to come back at not at 1 o'clock.
When is the next? I don't
Well,
know.
it's at noon, so let me ask you this. Are we ready to hop in at noon? Do we need a full hour? Do I need to ask your next instructors to hang out till about 25 after? You tell me.
I don't know. He said we have 45 minutes. So I was figuring out how that was 45 versus 35. That's. I was just making sure.
It would actually be 35. You're
Oh,
correct.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
But let me ask you this. Are you
Looking
all
at the
right
wrong
with it?
clock.
Yeah, that Zoom clock's good. Are you all right with that? You need a full hour. And I know one of the answers is going to be I need a full hour, so I'm okay with that. I just need to let your instructors know they're going to be here regardless. So if you want to start it right at noon, we can get right at noon and get your day going, or we can extend. And maybe it also means that extends our day, so we would be going to 2:25 Central, 3:25 Eastern. You tell me how you want to work this.
If you can split that 1 hour break, like in 35 minutes and 25 minutes, or 30 and 30.
Tell you what, we're already negotiating. So let me offer you a counter proposal. Let's do full hour, and then I'll get you a break in the middle of the next session. So I get where you're coming from, but I think the full hour might be to your benefit. Please eat something. Please get protein in your system because you'll need it. Do not work. I should add that as homework. Do not work through your lunch hour. I've lived that life. Do not like that life. Let's go full hour. I'll let your instructors know. We will start at, I'm going to call it 25 after. So 12:25 Central, please. Be prompt because I'm going to have them ready to rumble.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Don't end this meeting, please.